Time to jump, though, into your favorite part of the show.
Oh, the police blotter.
That's right,
yes,
the police
it is.
blotter. Well, as we know, NFL free agency is upon us, and the Chicago Bears were active, not so much on that free agent front. The Bears.
Thank you.
But less than a day after the Bears traded for Brandon Marshall, the Pro Bowl receiver has been accused in yet another off-field incident. The NYPD says a woman has filed a complaint alleging Marshall punched her in the face at a nightclub over the weekend. While he has not been charged in the incidents, which the woman says occurred at 3:50 in the morning outside the Marquee Club in Manhattan's Chelsea neighborhood, Marshall had been traded from the Dolphins to the Bears on Tuesday for 2 third-round draft picks. Both teams Wednesday said they knew about the alleged incident before the trade. Now, Marshall's attorney, Harvey Steinberg, said, which sounds like the name of an attorney, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So Harvey Steinberg, doesn't it sound like one of those guys you'd see on TV too? Have you been injured in an accident? Yeah. Call me, Harvey Steinberg. We'll get you off. Harvey said a fight broke out that did not involve his client or friends. What else is a lawyer going to say? No. He also said Marshall's wife was struck in the face by a thrown bottle and suffered serious injury. Ooh. Now, you might remember last year, his wife stabbed him, and he had to go to the hospital. She was on the police blotter last year.
I was just going to say, she made the police blotter. It's 2 years in a row for them. They're going for the record.
Yeah. Marshall was also involved in a fight in Denver in 2007 that led to the drive-by murder of the Broncos' Darrent Williams. And then last July, Marshall disclosed he was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, which stems from things such as a negative self-image and a fear of failure. What I would suggest, Mr. Marshall, is just remind yourself, you're good enough, you're smart enough, and doggone it, people like you. So Brandon Marshall, and he also had trouble with Chad Henne.
It's very nice of you.
Yeah, well, I just want to say, you never hear about Brandon Dubinsky from the Rangers getting into these clubs.
You wouldn't hear anything like
going
that.
to clubs in New York, fighting people, do you?
At 10 minutes of 5 in the morning, would you kid me?
Here's something from college football where in the off-season, crime never takes a break.
No.
Georgia quarterback Brandon Smith, another Brandon, was arrested and charged with marijuana possession last Sunday, and he's the third starter from last year's team to be arrested in this offseason. He had been pulled over having no tag light and following another vehicle too closely in southeastern Alabama, according to Henry County Sheriff William Maddox.
Yeah.
Doesn't that probably looks like Jackie Gleason in that movie, Eastbound and Down, whatever it was.
Put me in the middle of that now, huh?
Smoking the Bandit.
Smoking the Bandit, thank you.
The arresting officer smelled marijuana in the car and found it under the back seat. Smith could be suspended for at least 1 game, according to the school. Now, Smith and a passenger in the car. Yep. His passenger, Dasmay Rashawn Woods of Atlanta, faced misdemeanor charges of possessing less than an ounce of marijuana. And when asked if the marijuana belonged to him, Smith said, "I'm not talking about that." So at least you keeping your mouth shut.
Well, he probably wants to put it behind him and talk about the future. He doesn't want to talk about what happened in the past.
So Brandon Smith down in Georgia is in trouble. Do you remember Dallas Smith getting caught with pot?
Billy Smith?
Nope.
Whew.
How about Bobby Smith?
No, there you go.
How about Rick Smith?
Yeah.
Hasn't happened, folks. We're hockey players. They don't do stuff like that.
Dr. Greg Smith.
Now, Winthrop, Massachusetts. A Massachusetts man has been accused of pointing a laser into the eyes of an opposing goalie at his daughter's high school game, and he is facing charges. It's a parent, and his name is Joseph Cordes. He was brought into court last week, and he's charged with disturbing the peace. The cops say that Cordes pointed a light at the Medway Ashland goalie during a game last month in a tournament game. He was ordered out of the arena by officials. Winthrop won that game 3-1, prompting a protest from the Medway Ashland parents who asked that the game be replayed, which I certainly think is fair. But the governing body of sports in Massachusetts, the MIAA, the high and mighty folks who oversee all sports, say that no, it won't be replayed because sometimes fans do affect the outcome of the game. He hasn't been arrested, and he tells WBZ that he feels like a complete jerk, which he is.
Well, he should feel like a complete jerk, going to the game and harassing the goalie in the other end with a laser pointer. What the heck's the matter with him? He's 42 years old. His daughter's playing. He made a fool of himself, and he embarrassed his daughter. What a dope.
Now, why wouldn't the MIAA let this game be replayed?
Well, I'll tell you, because the MIAA has got no idea what's going on. I heard a story recently about the high school playoffs, and a young lad got a hat trick. And what's the tradition when you get a hat trick?
You throw a hat on the ice.
Evidently, the MIAA never heard any of this, and they were going to throw out the people who were throwing objects on the ice during the game. And I'm saying it's a hat trick. Are you serious? That's just how disconnected they are from the real world.
Let me give you folks a message. They're right in the next town, you know.
That's all
you
right.
folks at the MIAA, take your heads out of your rear ends, okay?
Oh.
Get with it. And I also want to tell you folks out there something. I'm sick and tired of hearing the term hockey parents thrown around. If you want to see aberrant behavior, at times, go to a youth basketball game. Because last week I was at one, and a guy got warned in the sidelines in the first half because he was giving the ref a hard time. His daughter, at one point later in the half, asked him to take it easy. In the second half, the other ref told him to calm down. I'm thinking, what about the first warning?
You're right.
So get off this stuff with hockey parents, okay, folks? It's parents in general that are ruining sports for the youth of our great nation.
Very well done.
I'm going to get right into basketball because this is one I wasn't aware of.
Uh-oh.
A boys basketball coach at a Massachusetts grade school has turned himself into police Monday after allegedly biting off part of another ear's coach after losing a game.
Another coach's ear. No,
What did I
another
say?
ear's coach.
Another coach's ear. I'm so upset
That
about
could
this.
have worked that way, though. That
Because
could
you
work
don't
that-
see this with hockey coaches. You don't even see Milbury biting off ears. Timothy Lee Forbes, 34, fled the scene after the Friday incident at a school in Springfield, Mass. The attack occurred after his son's team had lost in the CYO finals.
Yeah.
This guy is not affiliated with CYO. I know that for a fact. And he also punched the winning coach prior to biting off part of his ear, said the assistant DA out in Hampden County. Several of the 10 to 12-year-old kids were knocked on the court after they tried to shake hands, and several of them left crying. Now, the coach that had his ear bit off was taken to the hospital, and he had it reattached. Didn't Eddie Shore go through that once?
he sure
too?
did.
Yeah,
Yes, he did.
Yeah. This moron Forbes turned himself into authorities in the Springfield courthouse on Monday. He pleaded not guilty to a charge of disorderly conduct, assault and battery, felony mayhem, and other charges. And
Excuse me, pled guilty?
did I say pled guilty? Not guilty.
Oh, okay.
Not
I'm
guilty.
sorry. All right.
But you know, folks, how many times do you get mad at somebody, punch them in the head, and bite their ear off? I mean, it happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, it can happen very easily.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
Again, this guy is not associated with the Holy Name School out in Springfield, nor is he associated with CYO. And I'll say this, you never hear a Clos Julian biting off ears of other coaches, do you?
No, you can never get close enough. That's why they put the glass up there.
Yep. Port St. Lucie, Florida. Now we're getting into bullpen catchers.
Oh,
The
no.
New York Mets say bullpen catcher Eric Landgill has been suspended without pay for 7 days after being charged in a drunken driving accident down in Central Florida. The Mets said in a release Wednesday that Landgill will also be required to seek counseling through the assistance program that they offer employees.
That's nice.
Now, evidently, the 32-year-old was arrested Sunday night after losing control at a traffic circle, crashing into a concrete fountain and flipping his car. He was charged with DUI, property damage, and released from jail. So Eric Landgill is in a bit of trouble with the New York Mets. Do you recall Eric Lindros flipping cars and
Never.
hitting concrete fountains?
Never, not at all.
No. I remember him demanding to be traded, but never hitting
That's
concrete
right.
fountains and flipping his car.
Oh,
And finally, folks, once again from the world of college football, where crime doesn't take an off season.
you ain't kidding.
Texas Tech sophomores J.C. Amaro and Kenny Williams were arrested last week after using a credit card to pay for drinks at the Firehouse Grill and Bar. Now,
So far, there's nothing wrong with that.
nothing wrong with that had the credit card belonged to them.
Oh.
It did not. These two bought about $100 worth of drinks before bar employees became suspicious, and the owner of the bar said that Amaro and Williams were wearing Texas Tech stuff in his bar, and he called the police, and the players tried to convince him to change his mind repeatedly by telling him they were football players. Bourne also said it's believed these guys were buying a lot of drinks for friends who also had Texas Tech gear on. These guys were booked into the Lubbock County Criminal Detention Center on Friday evening and charged with credit card abuse, which is a second-degree felony. And Texas Tech will allow the Lubbock Police Department to look in all of these allegations. So J.C. Amaro and Kenny Williams are afoul of the law. Do you ever recall Tiger Williams using someone else's credit card to pay for drinks?
No.
Nor do I.
No.
So that, my folks, my friends,
You know, how
Got it!
Nice.
is the police blotter.
How intelligent are they with their Texas Tech varsity jackets on? They're buying cocktails on
And-
somebody else's
And
card.
telling this guy.
You know, they probably learned it from Harvard. Harvard kids dress up as BC guys and go over to that Mary Jane's there and cause all kinds of commotion.